Okay, we start with the Panasonic FC1 controller. It's a bigger controller, let's say it like that, but it handles very well. You have 3 buttons, A, B, C, and on the top you have both the shoulder buttons and also the controller port, like I showed you before, and the D-pad, of course. And normally you would have selecting the start button, but for some kind of reason they changed it to X and P. I don't know why, but okay. And on the bottom you have the headphone jack and also volume control. But keep in mind, when you put headphones into the controller, then the TV won't mute down. And also when you look around the D-pad, you had things like forward and rewind or skip to next, and also here you have the stop and the play and the pause for audio CDs or for the movies on the 3DO or for the video CDs. And here we have the Panasonic FC10 controller. It's a little bit smaller than the FC1 model, and also it doesn't have a headphone jack or the volume control, but again it handles very well, and I really love playing with this controller. It's a very cool one. And the last controller, or let's say the last joypad that I have, is the Goldstar Controller. And as you can see, it has also the 3 buttons, the shoulder buttons, and X and P, and on top, underneath this, you have the controller port. It also has the headphone jack and the volume control, but I don't like this joypad as much as the others, because it feels very stiff, and there's something wrong with the D-pad, but it's not that this one is broken. Every Goldstar controller has this, because you can turn the D-pad. Now normally I would say, okay, if you wanna turn it, it's okay, but it could happen that when you play a game, like a fighting game or whatever, that it turns from self, because you move in many directions, and then it could happen that you end up playing it like this. And that's something I really hate about this controller, but again, it's a good controller, and yeah. Now there were also other joypads for the 3DO from third-party companies with 4 buttons instead of 3, or a 6-button controller, but there were also other controllers for this system, like an arcade stick or a mouse, and also I saw some footage of a steering wheel, but I read in the internet that the steering wheel wasn't actually released. Now the 3DO has also light gun shooters, like almost every other video home console, and to play those you had to buy one of these, or you could play it with the regular 3DO controllers. But there was one thing that really bugs me, because as you can see, there's no second controller port. So what would you do if you wanna play it with 2 players? The only way was to hook the light gun into one of the controllers, so one player would play with the controller and the second player would have could play with the light gun. Or you had to buy this one. This is the 1 or 2 player light gun, and this is the model which has a second controller port. Now today the light gun is one of the rarer items, and to get this one with the 1 or 2 player option, it's even rarer than the first one. So you don't find those every time in eBay when you look it up, and yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Last controller that I have for this system is the Flight Stick Pro. Flight Stick for the 3DO system, and I have to say this is one of the best flight sticks that I've ever had for a system, and it handles excellent. So if you wanna play flight simulations or space shooters or whatever on the 3DO, this was the only flight stick that came out, and it's just cool and it handles really excellent. Okay, now I wanna give you a quick look of the two versions the games came out. One was the dual CD cases and the other versions were those cardboard long boxes. Some of them had some kind of a plastic frame, and compared to a PlayStation 2 cover, those are a little bit longer. And I also wanted to mention this little, let's say, program, because what is the Game Guru? First of all, it's some kind of a game genie like the NES had, and it had some cheats on it or some save datas where you could start a game with a lot of money, or you could choose the levels you want to start. And also this program has a so-called storage manager, because the Panasonic FC10 was the only model which had a storage manager, or let's say a memory manager, inside the system. So you could, when you didn't put a game inside and you just started the system, you could manage your save game data. You could delete some or whatever, and all the other consoles didn't have those kind of features, so that's why they brought out the Game Guru. You have the program on the CD where you could manage your save game data, and also some of the games had a storage manager inside, but you couldn't choose the option of the storage manager. It only popped up if your hard drive or memory unit was full and you had to remove some save game data to play the games. But okay, that was the Game Guru. Now let's continue with my games and my expression on those games, and keep in mind those are my opinions. So if I don't like a game which you find it's a cool game, don't take it personally. Those are just my opinions. Okay, let's start with some bad games first, okay? The first game is Rise of the Robots. And it's a beat 'em up where you play as this blue cyborg and you fight against other robots. Yeah, the only good thing I can say about this game is that the graphics are okay, but the controls are messed up. Also, there's no music during the fights, and it's probably one of the worst fighting games I ever played on any system. And the second bad title I have for this system is Shadow, but I don't show you this game if you wanna see what this game is about. I made a review about this game and I won't talk about this anymore. Okay, let's come to the next, Supreme Warrior. This is one of the so-called full motion video games, and yeah, it's basically a movie and you can fight against some other fighters, and yeah, it's pretty bad. The graphics are good because it's a full motion video game, but yeah, controls are awkward. For me it's just a very bad game. Okay, Sewer Shark. Now, like Supreme Warrior, it's also a full motion video game and the graphics are okay, and it's a rail shooter. I mean, the whole idea of a video game where you fly with a spaceship through sewers and the only things you fight are some rats and bats, yeah, this won't work for me, so again, another bad game for this system. Okay, let's start with the average titles for the system. Killing Time. It's a horror first-person ego shooter. You go around and fight against enemies, and sometimes you get cutscenes of some ghosts who tell you the background story on some characters, or which way you had to go, or something like that. It's a very nice game for this system. Then we have Burning Soldier. This is also one of the rail shooter games for this system. It's also a very nice game, the graphics are okay, the sound is good, and yeah, it's a very funny game. Then Slayer, one of the Dungeons and Dragons games. This could be one of the coolest games if you like role-playing games. I do like role-playing games, but I didn't play this game as much as I would because I didn't have time yet to play this for real. So this was the first time I played this game for the review, and it looks like it could be one hell of a game because it has all features a role-playing game should have, and the graphics are okay, and yeah, I guess it could be a hit title for this console. And the last average game I want to show you is Dragon Lore. And it's a very nice graphic adventure, a point and click adventure with some role-playing features, and also you can fight a little bit in this game. And it's a very nice game, the graphics are okay and all, but what they really messed up is the voice acting. The English voice acting is okay.
The milking pail is leaking. See if you can find a bowl or something, Werner. Old Daisy has
I guess it's not perfect, but it's okay. Then you can choose the language of the game to French, and I guess the French voice acting is also okay.
Le seau à lait coule. Va donc chercher un bol, Werner. Nous devons traire cette bonne vieille Daisy.
Then you can also choose it to Spanish, and there they kind of fucked this game up because you only have undertitle in Spanish, but it's the English voice acting. And you can also choose the German language, but this is probably the worst voice acting I ever heard.
Der Milcheimer tropft. Hol ein anderes Gefäß, Werner. Die gute alte Daisy muss gemolken werden.
It was so hilarious, the voice acting, but it's a very nice game. So this was the last average game. Now let's come to the real good titles for the system. First up is Gex. And Gex is a very good jump and run game for the 3DO. And it's got very nice graphics, the controls are very good, and yeah, I had really much fun playing this game, and it's a very good jump and run game for the 3DO. Next up is Samurai Showdown. It's a very good beat 'em up and a very good port from the arcades, and yeah, if you love beat 'em ups, then this should be on everyone's list for the system because this is very good and a lot of fun. Next one is Escape from Monster Manor, and this is also a first-person ego shooter for the system. I don't know what it is, but I really enjoyed this title. The graphics are nice, they are not perfect, but they're very nice, and it's got a little bit of a funny look, this game, and you're basically running around and killing monsters with your laser gun. It's kind of a Doom clone, but it's a really funny game. I really like this one. I don't know why, but this is one of my favorite games for this system. Then we have Super Wing Commander. This game was the reason why I bought the 3DO system, because I'm a very huge fan of the Wing Commander series, and the title was a 3DO only title, but it's basically the first Wing Commander title which was a remake because they used better graphics and better sounds and some other missions, and I played this game so often and I beat the game so often. Yeah, it's a very cool game and one of the games which you love to play with the flight stick. It's one of my favorite games. Now I only want to show you one other game, but before I come to the game, I just wanna tell you that I have more games for the 3DO system, but I can't show you all of them. And also it could happen that some of you would say, hey, you forgot this one or this title, and it could also happen that I don't have this title and I only want to show you game footage of games that I have. And I guess this must be the favorite game of all times for me Wing Commander 3. And it's such a very good portation from the PC. I really love this game, and I said it before, I'm a huge Wing Commander fan, and you can't go wrong with this game. When you like space operas or space flight simulations, it's just awesome. So, I guess this is all that I have to say about the system. I hope you enjoyed the show. Maybe see you next time. Take care. Bye.